Alright, shalom, shalom. So we're here again. Once again, I kind of showed you a situation before. I have two phones. I got a new phone and an old phone. The older phone I use for recording, and then when it runs out of space, I switch to my new phone. Unlike last time where I really didn't have enough, where I really wasn't, I had to kind of think quick. This time over the week, I was thinking, and I pretty much got it where I got my phone connected. Like I got my new phone as a hotspot for my old phone, so now I'm still able to go ahead and bring out scriptures. I'm still able to go into things just with the old phone, maybe a bit slower, but hey, I'm still able to go into certain things. All right, so I believe where we were going into was Alexander the Freak. Yeah, he spared the Jews. He let them alone. The Most High didn't sanction it. We weren't supposed to be taken down by them yet. It was supposed to come later on. In the time of Antiochus was when it was our time to be taken down. All right. So, listen, like the Most High has his own time periods, his own way of working that we normal humans, like, we really can't understand. Like, we cannot understand the Most High's, like, we can understand certain things, right? But even us in the truth, there's certain things that we cannot, understand. I want to get a quick scripture. This is the book of Psalms, chapter 131, verse 1. A song of degrees of David. Most High, my heart is not haughty, nor my eyes lofty. Neither do I exercise myself in great matters or in things too high for me. All right, so we're not going to try to get into the mind of the Most High like these other heathens, man. These guys are fucking stupid, man. Like, listen, the Most High has his own way of working, his own timetable, even now. All right, not even Yahweh Shai knows when the end is going to come. And you can read about that in the Book of Acts, chapter 1. Not even Yahweh Shai. He didn't even know when's the time of the end. He gave us signs, but he didn't give us an exact date. All right, the world is the end of Esau's rulership, or Jacob's trouble, is going to come in at exactly December 14th, 2021 at 7 p.m. They're going to have a vaccine strike force come to everyone's door, and you know what I'm saying? They never said that, Let me get a little sip of water. And we'll just keep going on, man. This is what we're called to do. As I said before, man, I could get scriptures. We can get scriptures all day, man, about Esau, Edom, and calling him a damn devil, which he is. He is a damn devil, by the way. Okay, he's a damn devil. Okay, but I can do that all day, right? But who you guys going about history? What you guys talking about history, man? All you other camps, I see you go all day talking about Esau, this, 2/3 this, 2/3 that. There's nothing wrong with that. But what about history? Okay, what about various points going throughout world history, talking about the Persians, talking about the Babylonians? Where's that, man? See, we ain't the same, man. Other Israelite camps, man. This is the book of Daniel, chapter 8. Verse 5. And as I was considering, behold, an he-goat came from the west on the face of the whole earth. This is talking about Alexander the Greek, who came from the western face of the whole earth, talking about Greece. Okay? You guys want to listen? Yeah. Oh, I'm talking about the Bible, man. Yeah, so we're going into various histories, but if you don't want to stay, you can go, man.
Do you like Jews?
I am a Jew.
You are?
Yeah. I'm a real Jew. I don't know about you. I'm the real Jews.
What do you mean real Jews?
I'm the real Jews. When you go back into the history, okay, there's something called the diaspora. Do you know what that is?
No.
Okay, do you know why they're called Jews in the first place? You know what Jew stands for?
What?
Judah. Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. That goes back to the 12 tribes of Israel. Are you a Jew?
Yeah. I had my bar mitzvah, but I'm not really Jewish anymore because it was like Torture.
It was torture. How was it torture? Since say it for the camera. Why is it torture?
I had to wake up at like 8 o'clock and I had to go to this. Who's there?
That's me. If you wanna come on, then here, stand on that side.
Oh.
Stay on that side, all right? For
Right.
order's sake.
So I had to wake up at like 8 o'clock or
Uh-huh.
something, and I had to go to this Hebrew school where we learned all this stuff, and it was like every day for like 5 hours, and I had other friends that were Jewish, except they were like the weak kind of Jewish, and they went to the other temple where they went for like 30 minutes, and I got jealous.
Okay. All right, so.
And I got my this thing.
All right, but do you know that the real Jews are Black, Hispanic, and Native Americans?
Yeah, I do.
But do you also? Oh, you do know.
Yeah.
You know too? Okay. Wow.
And, yeah.
Wow. All right.
But I'm Ashkenazi Jew, so I'm from
Ashkenaz. Do you know where that comes from?
like Western Europe or Eastern Europe.
Western. Who is in Western Europe? Tell me who was in Western Europe according to the Bible.
Like Asians, or according to the Bible.
According to the Bible, what group of people? What
Romans actually.
Romans. Well, what kind of Romans? Because there's different kinds of Romans.
Like the ancient. I don't know.
Where did they come from? You know?
I haven't been there in like 2 years. I haven't learned about this in 2 years, but I think I know like Romans came, and that's what the story of Hanukkah is, right? Where the Romans came and they took over.
Okay.
Maccabees did something.
That's not talking about that. Maccabees, that happened in the time of the Greeks. Where does your family come
Greeks.
from? Where does your father come from?
Well, my father, his grandfather is, I don't know, he's like American, but I don't know. But my dad's mother, her mother, I think, yeah, they were from Russia.
But what about your father? Because the line goes back to the father. You know that? According to scriptures, when you go back into it, who you are, what your father is. And I'm actually going to go ahead and pull it for you, all right? Because certain people, they'll look at both of your skin colors, and they'll say immediately, oh, you have to be Edomites. You may not. You may actually be of the 12 tribes of Israel. Forgive me, I don't have the sign. It's supposed to be a sign that will show you, but roughly you got Judites, that are the Negroes. You got the Northern Kingdom, which are the so-called Hispanics, Native Americans, the Gadites, Seminole Indians, or the tribe of Reuben. But we're going to get something out for you real quick. You know, I'm actually glad you came up. You know, I was just going into some history. I thought I'd bring this out real quick, you know, then you guys can stay, or you know, if you gotta go, you can go.
Well, I was gonna go over to the temple over there.
Oh, there's a temple, okay.
Yeah, you know, there's a chapel there, and that's what my grandparents, they like built.
Okay, so this is the book of Numbers, chapter 1, verse 18. And they assembled, Moses and Aaron assembled all the congregation together on the first day of the second month, and they declared the pedigrees after their families by the house of their fathers. Okay, so it goes back to the line of their fathers.
Oh, actually?
Okay, yeah. That's where the seed line comes from.
I always thought because my rapper, they said like, if your mother's Jewish, then you're 100% Jewish.
That's a lie. They lied to you. Okay, the real truth is in this book. They go into this book, they tell you who the Edomites are. They tell you where the Edomites come from. They tell you how they look like. They tell you about future prophecy, what's going to come and happen to this country. They would tell you about that.
I don't want to know about what happens to this country.
Well, then hey, man.
I feel like it's going to be bad.
It's really bad, all right? Yeah, you know what
I don't want to hear about that.
You don't want to hear about it? But, well, hey, you know, I'm going to go back to what I was talking about before. You guys can feel free to stay if you want to listen. You know, but you guys can go, you know. This is the book of Daniel.
All right, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. No. Yeah, no problem. Just go, man. Yeah, you know, yeah, I think you dropped some money. Yeah, go get your money, man. I think that's either yours or his. I don't know, man.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem, man. All right, so we had some Jews. There's so much stuff I can go into, like, so much stuff rooting around in my head. Like, but the point's already made, man. They don't tell them shit, man. Them fake Jews don't tell people shit. it literally, it speaks for itself, yo. It speaks for itself, and I put them on the camera. They're on the camera, all right. It speaks for itself. You know, I could have brought out certain things. You know, they could be Jakes. They could be Jews, you know? They could be. Very well. This is the book of Daniel, chapter 8. Back to what I was going into. Verse 5, and I was considering, behold, an he-goat came from the west on the face of the whole earth, and touched not the ground, and the goat had a notable horn between his eyes, talking about Alexander the Greek. That when we go into in Halley's Bible handbook, he swept through the eastward part of the entire earth and was just going crazy, taking over Egypt. He was taking over Syria and Babylon, all the way down to Persia. Verse 6, and he came to the ram that had two horns, which I had seen standing before the river, and ran into him in the fury of his power. And I saw him come close unto the ram, and he was moved with choler against him, and smote the ram, and brake his two horns. And there was no power in the ram to stand before him, but he cast him down to the ground, and stamped upon him. And there was none that could deliver the ram out of his hand. When you go into Alexander the Great, that movie, you know, Alexander had a fierce hatred of the Persians. He just wanted to get his hands on those fucking Persians, man. And he did. He had his wish. Okay, and you can read about that in the Battle of Gagamella that happened in 331 BC. Okay, when he came over to Persia and he took down Darius. Well, he didn't really take down Darius III. He made him flee. And I believe there was a couple more battles after that, which eventually led to the Persians taking over. Darius III, when you go into the history, was killed by his own men. Darius III was assassinated by a fake governor. Like, there was a governor, I believe in Bactria. I believe it was Bactria. You had a fake governor that took over, who claimed possession of the throne, who came and killed Darius III, and that was the end of it. All right, so this is the book of Daniel, chapter 8. Yeah. So once again, he took down the horn. Therefore the he-goat waxed very great, and when he was strong, the great horn was broken, and forth came up four notable horns toward the four winds of heaven. And when you go into the history, Alexander the Greek's reign or his power ended when he came into Elam. When he came into India, that was the end of him. Okay? We're gonna actually get a count on that, on how Alexander the Great died. But off the top of my head, I believe he got some sort of abdominal pains. You know why he got abdominal pains? Because he was getting fucked too much in his ass. All right, because Alexander the Great was a fucking faggot. You can't make that up. Yeah, but when you look into how Alexander died, he was on campaign in Elam, in India, all right, and he started to get very sick. All right, that's how that horn, that great horn, the notable horn, was broken. He got sick. Okay, he started to have abdominal pains, and he would cry out in agony when you read into it. All right, the Most High used him for a certain time period, and when he was ready to die, he said, all right, I'm going to give you stomach cancer, which that's what I believe. I believe Alexander the Great had stomach cancer because he's getting popped in his ass so much. A fucking faggot, man. That's what he was. He was a fucking faggot. But hey, those two guys, now I'm thinking about two guys that walked by. There's two kids. Could be Jakes, could be Edomites. I'm not exactly sure. If they come back next week, they may very well. They may want to leave that fucking Jew shit alone, that fake Jew shit, you know? And they'll maybe want to come around and listen some more. You never know, man. You never know. All right? And I just wanted to ask him the line of his fathers, because you see these kids, them GMO babies, man, they don't really think. You know, like you ask some of these fucking kids a question, and they don't think, man. They don't know how to answer any questions. Like, they're kind of, I gotta be honest, kids today are fucking stupid. You know, they're stupid. I mean, I can't even ask them a simple question to have a conversation, you know. Back in the olden times, kids were like little men. You could ask them questions, they'd answer you. They say, yeah, sir, yeah, I know so-and-so and so-and-so and so-and-so, and give you a quick answer. But now, I mean, if you would have told me his father's line, we could have went into it. I could have went into Acts chapter 10. I would have explained to him that you have Israelite foreigners. I would explain to him that the Jews are black. Okay, that the dark-skinned people, not all of them are quote-unquote black, but dark-skinned people, but it is what it is. You know, people here, they get high down here in Ithaca, so they're you know. Moving on, Daniel's chapter 8. Oh, there was something I was going to get. Daniel's chapter 8, verse 7. And I saw him come close unto the ram, and he was moved with choler against him, and smote the ram, and brake his two horns. and there was no power in the ram to stand before him, but he cast him down to the ground and stamped upon him, and there was none that could deliver the ram out of his hand. Okay, so Alexander the Freak took down that Persian Empire and took over their territory. Okay. Verse 8, therefore the he-goat was very great, and when he was very strong, moving on, okay, still powerful, even though his men started to rebel against him and wanted to stop and go back to Greece. You know, they kind of taken over many territory. They're pretty much going non-stop conquering. That's what it means, in touching not the ground. Alexander the Freak and his men, they kept conquering and took no breaks. You know, they just kept on going. Therefore, the he-goat waxed very great. When he was strong, the great horn was broken, and for it came up 4 notable ones toward the 4 winds of heaven. All right, so that great horn, when the great horn was broken, let's talk about Alexander the Great having his sickness. All right, but also when he came up in India, all right, he didn't know how to deal with those Indians. All right, this is weapons and warfare. I want war elephants. This is weaponsandwarfare.com, Indians' war elephants. War elephants, India's distinctive contribution to the art of warfare. They were first recorded by Western historians at the Battle of Gagamella. All right, the Battle of Gagamella is when Alexander the Freak, or Alexander the Greek, took down the Persians, and we just read about that in Daniel chapter 8, verse 7, when the ram was delivered into the he-goat's hand, and he destroyed him and stamped upon him. Okay, that's why we're going to talk about Alexander's 4 generals. They came over and took over the various pieces and parts of the Persian Empire. You know, they had pieces in Lydia, which they already took that over already, and Greece. The Greeks, Alexander the Freak and his men, they took over that region. You know, the Persians had parts in Egypt, okay, and Alexander the Freak took over Egypt. All right, they of course had Assyria and Babylon, okay, and Alexander the Freak took Assyria and Babylon, and then you got Persia. Okay, so pretty much a complete translation of power. All right, we're gonna read it again. Hold on. Yeah, this phone, it just stops for some reason sometimes. Give me a second, Akim. I may have to restart it. Just I'm just gonna restart it real quick. But when you go into it, right, we just read it on weaponsandwarfare.com, India's war elephants. Okay, in Elam, India was known for having war elephants. Where do you think Darius III got his elephants from? Remember, the Persians already go back to Elamites. Okay, so he got his elephants from Elam. When Alexander went to go fight against Elam, against King Porus, which I believe was one of the final kings that he defeated. I believe he did defeat King Porus, but he actually he made an alliance with him, and then after that he got sick and died. You know? Let's see if I can go ahead and get it. But that's going into how he was defeated. You know, as he was getting his ass beat down there in Elam. You know, it wasn't as easy as he thought. All right, because remember those Indians in Elam. That's where everyone gets their elephants from Elam. All right, they were known to train those elephants to be good in battle. You know, I believe they also prey to elephants also. You know, they use them for war. Let's see here if I can get it to come back, and then we'll go right back into it. You know, we'll see, but I'm just gonna keep moving on anyway. This is the book of Daniel chapter 8 verse 8. Therefore the he-goat waxed very great, and when he was strong the great horn was broken, and for it came up 4 notable ones toward the 4 winds of heaven. Okay, those 4 notable ones are talking about his 4 generals. This is the book of First Maccabees chapter 1 verse 4. And he gathered a mighty strong host and ruled over countries and nations and kings who became tributaries unto him. Okay, pretty much became satrapies. They got that from the Persians because the Persians were one of the first people to have satrapies, had a sort of provincial kind of governmental system. Okay. After these things, he fell sick and perceived that he should die. As I said before, I think he got stomach cancer because he was taking it up the ass so much. And funny little testimony. Some women were listening, and I was talking about it, and they were just staring at me. And I was going into Alexander the Great, and I said, yeah, that's why Alexander the Great died. He was getting fucked in his ass too much, and he died. And then he sped down the road. When they heard me talking about it, I said, yeah, that's Alexander the Great. He was a fucking faggot. He was getting popped in his ass, getting ran up in his ass so much, they fucking ruptured his stomach, and that's why he had severe abdominal pain and he died. Verse 6, wherefore he called the servants, such as were honorable, and had been brought up with him from his youth, and parted his kingdom among them while he was yet alive. Okay? Yeah, he called up his servants, his 4 servants. They're talking about the Diadachi, his successors. And I want to go pull it up and bring it out. So this is Halley's Bible Handbook, page 402. On Alexander's death, his empire fell to 4 of his generals. The 2 eastern sections going Syria to Seleucus. Okay, the Syria Empire. Okay, Seleucus, the Seleucid Empire. Egypt to Ptolemy. Okay, to the south. Palestine, lying between Syria and Egypt, went first to Syria, but shortly passed to Egypt, 301 BC. I believe that actually goes back to those Diadachi wars. I'm going to do a lesson on that soon. And remain under control of Egypt till 198 BC. They actually don't go into Cassander and Lysimachus. Alright, but out of Lysimachus came the Attalid Empire. And Lysimachus, I believe, was in Asia Minor. Cassander was in, if I'm correct, Cassander stayed in Macedonia. Lysimachus went in Asia Minor. You had Seleucus, went into Syria, Babylon, all those areas under his control. And then after that, you had Ptolemy, who was down in Egypt. Okay? So, I think we pretty much made the point on that. This is the book of Daniel, chapter 8. And, verse 9. And out of one of them came forth a little horn, which was exceeding great toward the south, and toward the east, and toward the pleasant land. All right, that notable horn is talking about Antiochus IV Epiphanes. All right, read it again. And out of one of them came from a little horn, which was exceeding great toward the south, and toward the east, and toward the pleasant land. The pleasant land is talking about the land of Israel, talking about us, the southern kingdom, as well as some northern kingdom that was sprinkled in, because a lot of the northern kingdom was already taken up, with the besieging of Samaria, which you read about in 2 Kings chapter 17, around 39, around that area, okay, which I went into already, and they were removed. All right, and verse 10, it waxed great even to the host of heaven. All right, it waxed great even to the host of heaven. The host of heaven is talking about the Most High. All right. And it waxed great even to the host of heaven, and it cast down some of the host and the stars to the ground. Talking about us, talking about the Israelites. All right, even those Jews, which I think those 2 kids could have been Jake's, man. Who knows? Maybe they might come back. You never know. You may see an Ithaca camp, and those 2 may start running it. You never know. You never know. Just putting it out there. It's possible. It may happen. It may not happen. But those 2 kids came up and they knew that the real Israel. Oh, what the fuck? This is vibrating. They knew that the real Israelites are black men, are black, Hispanic, and Native Americans. Even their temple told them that, yo. And I was holding Revelation chapter 2, verse 9. I was gonna go into, how you have some that say they are Jews but are not, which is talking about, people inside that church, people that were doing that Balaam, the sin of Balaam. I could have went into that, but certain things I bring out, certain things I leave out. There's no need to waste my time and go too far out of it unless the person is sincere and really wants to learn. Okay? Yeah. So Antiochus Epiphanes, he rose up, he defied the Most High and started attacking us. All right, which the Most High already sanctioned it anyway. Verse 11, yea, he magnified himself even to the prince of the host, the Most High, and by him the daily sacrifice was taken away, the place of his sanctuary was cast down. All right, let's talk about Alexander the Epiphanes. And the Spirit's just telling me to go more. Yep, so this is Halley's Bible Handbook, page 403. Antiochus Epiphanes, 175 to 164 BC, was violently bitter against the Jews, and he made a furious and determined effort to exterminate them in their religion. He devastated Jerusalem in 168 BC, defiled the temple, offered a sow, which I believe is like a cow, some sort of unclean food, offered a sow on its altar, erected an altar to Jupiter, prohibited temple worship, forbade circumcision on pain of death, sold thousands of Jewish families into slavery. Okay, talking about the Israelites, talking about the southern kingdom mostly. Okay, destroyed all copies of scriptures that could be found and slaughtered everyone discovered in possession of such copies, resorted to every conceivable torture to force Jews to renounce their religion. This led to the Maccabean Revolt, one of the most heroic feats in history. Okay, which we are going to go into that as well. Once we finish a little bit in Daniel chapter 8, we may go into a little bit about the Maccabees. And I may leave it off there. And after that, we'll see. Because I got the Spirit. The Spirit's just telling me just to keep on going. Let's keep going. Back to Daniel chapter 8. This is the book of Daniel chapter 8. And I'll start again at 10. And it waxed great even to the host of heaven, and it cast down some of the hosts of the stars to the ground, and stamped upon them. Yea, he magnified himself even to the prince of the host. He defied the Most High. And by him the daily sacrifice was taken away, and the place of his sanctuary was cast down. He sieged, he destroyed the temple and sacked the temple 168 BC, as we just read. Verse 12, and the host was given him against the daily sacrifice. By reason of transgression, he built up an army to stay in Judea to afflict us, because the host just goes to battle, like soldiers, And the host was given him against the daily sacrifice by reason of transgression, and it cast down the truth to the ground, and it practiced and prospered. All right, as we just read, Antiochus IV Epiphanes hated the Jews, and he used any sort of conceivable torture to kill and murder them and try to get them to renounce their religion. Okay, to get us to, not really the religion, to renounce their faith. They say religion, but we know religion has nothing to do with the East. All right, religion is a Western Edomite construct. And yes, Antiochus IV is an Edomite. Okay, so these Edomites here, they come out of that same line. They're the same fucking people. Alexander was a Macedonian. All right, the Macedonians are Edomites out of the line of Agag, if I'm correct. All right, we're gonna keep going on. I'm gonna get a couple of scriptures, in Second Maccabees. Actually, I'm gonna start at First Maccabees. Just a couple examples here and there about how we oppress. This is the book of First Maccabees, chapter 2. Yeah, we'll start at First Maccabees chapter 2, and we'll start at verse 7. All right, this is Matthias, the son of John, the son of Simeon, a priest, the son of Joarib from Jerusalem, and dwelt in Moden. So this is Matthias talking right here. We're going to skip down to verse 6. And when he saw the blasphemies that were committed in Judah and Jerusalem, he said, Woe is me, wherefore I was born to see the misery of my people and of the holy city, and to dwell there. And when it was delivered into the hand of the enemy, and the sanctuary into the hand of strangers. Okay, as we just talked about, Antiochus the fourth Epiphanes sacked the temple and it went into heathen hands. All right. Her temple is become as a man without glory. Her glorious vessels are carried away into captivity. Her infants are slain in the streets. See that? He's killing our kids, man. Fucking devils. And you know how you know it's the same people? Because in slavery they did the same shit to us again. History repeats itself, okay? They did the same shit again in slavery, feeding our children to alligators and crocodiles. So we know it's the same exact people on the earth again. There's no end. Let me actually go ahead again. Yeah, it came into my mind, so you know, I'm just gonna go ahead and get it. And I swear, Akim, it's like night and day. You know, like I just gotta keep it composed, almost like an archer. You know, just keep composed, stay composed, bring out the info, bring out the facts, and then keep it moving. I want to get the book of Ecclesiastes. I believe Ecclesiastes is after Proverbs. Let's see if I can. Yeah, this is the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 4, verse 16. There is no end of all the people, even all that been before them. They also that come after shall not rejoice to him. Surely this also is vanity and vexation of spirit. I believe this is talking about us as well. You know, talking about our people going off. I got to go back into the history and look into it. But, you know, there's no end to all the people. You know, this is King Solomon speaking. So back into it, you know, how we cast the truth into the ground. Antiochus the fourth Epiphanes, it's the same people, same shit, the same thing over and over again. They're still doing the same things to this day. You know, you see certain things you see in the news of little black girls disappearing in America, or little Judite girls disappearing in America. They're doing the same thing, slowing our infants in the streets. Now they're a little bit more deceptive with it. They'll kidnap our children in little parks or playgrounds and rape them and kill them, you know. And that's what they do, and they get away with it. All right, it's the fucking devil, man. All right, Job 9 and 24, man. The earth is given to the hand of the wicked. Really started with the Renaissance, but you know. This is the book of First Maccabees, chapter 2, verse 9. Her glorious vessels are carried away into captivity. Her infants are slain in the streets. Her young men with the sword of the enemy. What nation have not had a part in her kingdom and gotten of her spoils? Okay, because after they took us over there, of course, took us into slavery, and they sold amongst themselves, put us in other provinces, they scattered us. That's why you read in Zechariah chapter 1:18, these are four horns, which are scattered Judah, all right, and scattered Israel. These little B, all right, yeah. These are four horns of scattered Judah and Israel, okay? We were scattered amongst these other nations. They took us into slavery. They took our women. They started raping our women. They put some of our women away. You know, sent them to different places, other lands, you know. This is the book of First Maccabees, chapter 2. And in here, you're going to read about also the start of that Maccabean Revolt. All right. Yeah, so this is the book of First Maccabees, chapter 2, verse 64. Wherefore, ye my sons, the sons of Matthias, be valiant and show yourselves men in the behalf of the law. What is the law? All right, the commandments. Okay, stand against these damn devils, these Edomites, even if you have to die. All right, and that's how we know we're moving into that time again to this day. All right, because we're gonna have to show ourselves men again in this time period today. All right, we know about the guillotines, we know about the FEMA camps, we know what you devils want to do, how you're gonna put us all in guillotines and cut our heads off. All right, we understand it and we accept it. All right. Yep. Verse 64, wherefore ye, my sons, be valiant and show yourselves men in the behalf of the law, for by it shall ye attain glory. Did they not attain glory? We still talk about the Maccabean Revolt to this day. It's one of the most heroic. This book right here, and this is written by an Edomite. He says one of the most heroic feats in history. Okay, did they not achieve glory? How are we going to achieve glory in this time period? Okay. This is the book of Revelations, chapter 20, verse 4. And I saw thrones, and they sat upon them, and judgment was given unto them. Okay? John the Revelator is seeing the 144,000 ruling in the kingdom of heaven. Alright? And I saw thrones, and they sat upon them, and judgment was given unto them. And I saw the souls of them that were beheaded for the witness of Yahweh Shai Mashiach. Okay, that same time period is coming to this day. Alright? I don't know about that number. That I stay as a man, that I gird up my loins as a man unto that time period, until the end. Okay? If I have to die, then so be it. Alright, because we know in Revelation chapter 12, what I started this camp with, is that these devils are coming down upon us having great wrath. Okay? We know about the guillotines. We know they got certain parts in China, certain parts in Mexico. We know that they have these FEMA camps already set up, and they have, I believe it's called REX 84, and they're just waiting to put our people into concentration camps and put us to death for not wanting to take the MOB. Okay, for not wanting to take the microchip, they're going to want to lop our heads off. And we understand it and we accept it. Okay? We accept our death. We'll die like men. Alright? Yep. That were beheaded for the witness of Yahweh Shai Mashiach, and for the word of the Most High, which had not worshipped the beast, not worshipped this beast system, New World Order, One World Order, neither his image, neither had received his mark upon the foreheads or in their hands, and they lived and reigned with Yahweh Shai Mashiach 1,000 years. 1,000 years means eternity, but we also know that after 1,000 years, those other heathen nations are going to be able to live again. They're going to be able to have certain, they're not going to be able to have their power back, but they're going to be able to be tributaries. They're going to be able to rule and have certain limited rulership over themselves. Okay? Back into it. But that's pretty much it. There's more I can go into on Maccabees chapter 2, but I recommend you brothers just go ahead and read it, you know? Shit. Hopefully it didn't break. It didn't break. Wadi Halba Shimi Shad. Yeah. This is the book of, back at Daniel. We're still hitting the book of Daniel. See how much precepts is be coming out, man? This is a joy. This is a joy. It is my honor to come out here. My pleasure to come out here and bring out this truth. This is the book of Daniel's chapter 8. Let's see. Yep. This is the book of Daniel chapter 8 verse 12. And a host was given him against the daily sacrifice by reason of transgression, and it cast down the truth to the ground, and it practiced and prospered. And we just went into that partly. There's also another account in 2 Maccabees chapter 6, verse 6, that I may go into a little bit later on. Alright. Then I heard one say, speaking, and another said unto a certain state, which spake, how long shall the vision concern the daily sacrifice and the transgression desolation to get both the sanctuary and the host to be trodden underfoot? Okay, so how long are these devils or these Edomites going to rule over our people? How long are they going to take down our people and trod and destroy the sanctuary, murder our children, okay, and just cause havoc among our people? How long is this going to last? And he said unto me, unto 2,300 days, then shall the sanctuary be cleansed. Okay, and you can read about that. The Maccabean Revolt was roughly from 167 BC to 160 BC. And I believe tangentially at the same time, the Greeks were starting to lose their power to the Romans. The Romans were kind of rising up as a strong military power, taking over various, areas, taking places from the Greeks, taking over. I believe the Romans, those Edomites, both of them Edomites, Edomite on Edomite crime. When you look into the Attila dynasty in the time of Attalus the First, I believe it was him who made a deal with the Romans, and that's how Pergamon was switched from a Lysimachian area to a Roman area. All right, because it was once owned by Lysimachus. Lysimachus's top general, who was a eunuch, Philetarius, his nephew Eumenes, and then he had a nephew named Eumenes the First, who ruled in his stead. All right. Then after that, I forgot about with his general Philetarius, he sold out his own men and gave up Pergamon to Seleucus. Then Seleucus owned Pergamon as well. Then after some time, around one of the Attalid kings, okay, they gave up the land to the Romans. All right, so just switching from one person to the next. I went over it a little bit in the history of Pergamon video. You can go ahead and watch it. I also talk about Antiochus as well, which means like the father, which was a prophet, martyr, a faithful martyr who died in the Pergamon. But yeah, as I said, it was a period of 6 years. 2,300 days is 6 years, roughly 6 years. Verse 15, it came to pass, when I, Daniel, seeing the vision, and saw for the meaning, that behold, there stood before me as the appearance of a man. And I heard a man's voice between the banks of Ulai, and which called and said, Gabriel, make this man to understand his vision. So he came near where I stood, and when he came, I was afraid, and fell upon my face. But he said unto me, understand, O son of man, for the time of the end shall be the vision. All right, the end of what? This is not the end as in the end times now. That's not what it's talking about. Daniel, when he's reading this, remember this is the 3rd year of the reign of Belshazzar. He's still in the reign of Belshazzar. He's seeing the future. He's not time traveling, because time traveling denotes that you're traveling through time. No, Daniel merely had a vision. He was seeing the future. Okay, seeing the future is not time travel. That's seeing the future. Okay. So pretty much something that at the end, then the vision will make sense. Once Belshazzar's rulership ends, then the vision will start to make sense. Verse 18, now as he was speaking with me, I was in a deep sleep on my face toward the ground, but he touched me and set me upright. And he said, behold, I will make thee know for what shall be in the end of the indignation, for at the time appointed the end shall be the indignation, the hatred. At the end of this matter, 20. The ram which thou sawest having 2 horns are the kings of Persia, of Media and Persia. Could you imagine how like the kind of, like Daniel must have been frightened. Like I know if that was me and I was in his shoes. Remember, Daniel ruled up until around the time period of Darius the Mede. He ruled as a advisor to Darius the Mede, so he was seeing the prophecy come to pass. You know how frightening that is, or well, he was frightened back then, as we're gonna read. A lot of his visions frightened him, but it must have been like a certain special kind of feeling. Like I couldn't even, it's similar to this day. It's occurring, like we're seeing the prophecies come to pass. It's just it's scary to a certain degree, but it's also like, wow, like the Most High is really great, This is why we hate you fucking 2/3. We hate the Edomites. We hate these other nations, okay? Because they curse the Most High. They curse the Most High. They'll make jokes. They'll try to appropriate our laws and customs and then they'll fuck it up, because it's not made for them, Verse 21, and the rough goat is the king of Grecia, and the great horn that is between his eyes, the first king. Okay, that's talk about Alexander the Freak. Now that being broken was as four stood up: Cassander, Lysimachus, Seleucus, and Ptolemy. Okay, you also had Antigonus, who was elsewhere, which I believe he was also in Asia Minor as well. I don't really remember, but or parts of Macedonia, I don't really remember. But Antigonus, was killed by the other generals. They all came together and they killed Antiochus. And now I'm going to go into that in the Diadochi Wars. Verse 22. Now that being broken, whereas four stood up for it, for a kingdom shall stand up out of the nation, but not in his power. Okay? Once again, those Diadochi Wars. Okay, those successors, the successor wars, the successors of Alexander the Creep or Alexander the Freak. And we call him Alexander the Freak because he was a homosexual. He liked to have sex with lots of men. He was a faggot. Okay, he was a so-called bisexual. Okay, when you go into it. Alright? He was an abomination. And in the latter time of their kingdom, when the transgressors are come to the full, a king of fierce countenance and the standing of dark sentences shall stand up. You know what that reminds me of? This is also a prophecy of that as well. This scripture can be used about so many different things. This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 49. The Most High shall bring a nation against thee from far, from the end of the earth, as such as the eagle flieth, a nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand. Okay, this happened in slavery, but it also happened back then. It happened many times. Okay, a man of fierce countenance. And I also talked about a man of fierce countenance in Daniel chapter 8. When you look up pictures of Antiochus Epiphanes, you can see his face. He looks like a damn demon, man. He looks like all he does is meditate on how to fucking kill and murder people. Like all these Edomites look. Like all the Rothschilds look. They're the same exact people. When you look at them, you just see like, yo, this is a fucking demon, man. Verse 50. A nation of fierce countenance, which shall not regard the person of the old, nor show favor to the young. All right, and this is what happened, as we read, and I believe we'll actually read it again, just for completion's sake and for perfectionist's sake. This is the book of, not the book. I keep fucking saying that, man. Halley's Bible Handbook by H.H. Halley, the Bible Handbook series under Zondervan. Alright. And Antiochus Epiphanes is page 403. Antiochus Epiphanes, who ruled from 175 to 164, which I believe he died of his. It'll go into at the end. Was violently bitter against the Jews. He made a furious and determined effort to exterminate them and their so-called religion, which we know what religion really goes back to the word religio, and that word means to, if my memory serves me right, give unto. Okay, to bind. All right, religions only bind. Christianity binds people. Okay, religion has nothing to do with the ancient world. People didn't have religions in the ancient world. They had customs. Okay, they had laws and customs and cultures. Okay, they did not have any religion. Religion is a Western concept, created by these Edomites, by these devils when they were given their power to rule, mainly in the time of the Renaissance. He devastated Jerusalem 168 BC, defiled the temple, offered a sow on his altar, erected an altar to Jupiter, prohibited temple worship, forbade circumcision on pain of death, and sold thousands. If you got circumcised, he would kill you. I believe that's also in Maccabees. It tells you that. Of course it does. And so thousands of Jewish families into slavery, destroyed all copies of scripture that could be found, and slaughtered everyone discovered in possession of such copies, and resorted to every conceivable torture to force Judah Israelites, to renounce their religion. This led to the Maccabean Revolt, 167 to 160 BC, one of the most heroic feats in history. Alright, I wanted to pull out, real quick, Because I was talking with a brother the other day. I remember going into it, about Daniel chapter 8, and I saw that other brother's video, and I was like, wow, I have to do a camp on this, I'm going to Ratazal, keep making videos, history camps. What's wrong with going and making history camps? Do I always have to do a sit down? Do I have to always keep history for a sit down? Whenever I go to camp, do I always have to go talk about Edomites and say how they're damn devils? We know they're a damn devil. How many times I got to say that? How many times I got to go into how there's going to be no Edomites left? How many times I got to go into 2/3, huh? How many times? Okay? We can do that all day. All day, man. This is the book of 2 Maccabees, chapter 6. Verse 1. Not long after this, the king Antiochus IV Epiphanes sent an old man of Athens to compel the Jews to depart from their laws, from the laws of their fathers, and not to live after the laws of the Most High, and to pollute also the temple in Jerusalem, and to call the temple of Jupiter Olympius. When you go into that, right, in my Capitoline Hill history breakdown, I went into it, how they had a temple of Jupiter Maximus, then in Capitoline Hill, but now Antiochus IV Epiphanes wanted to make he did, he achieved that. He tried to turn our temple into a temple of Jupiter or Zeus, okay? Verse 2, and to pollute also the temple in Jerusalem, and to call it the temple of Jupiter Olympius, and then Gerizim of Jupiter, defender of strangers. Okay, defender of strangers. What are strangers talking about in this one? Talking about heathen nations. Alright. As it did desire that dwell in the place. Verse 3, the coming in of this mischief was sore and grievous to the people, for the temple was filled with riot and reveling. What does riot and reveling mean? Fighting and reveling, moving around, bustling. When you look out here, right, there's not really too much reveling. But when you compare this place down to, say, Brooklyn or Times Square, there's lots of reveling and rioting and people moving around and doing shit. Because we made it to a province. Okay, so they had control over us. So they turned us into a heathen province, into a heathen plaza. They brought these other heathens from other places, had them come in, and it's pretty much make havoc of our land, Verse 4, for the temple was filled with riot and reveling by the Gentiles who dallied with harlots, temple prostitutes, and had to do with women within the circuit of the holy places, and besides that, brought in things that were not lawful. All right, I believe we also had temple prostitutes when you go into it. That's not exactly unlawful, as long as it's not of our people. But I believe when you go into it with Judah, the story of Judah, he messed with that one, what is her name? Is it Tamar? I can't remember the fucking name. Forget it. It's like I didn't mean to say that. I can't remember the name. I hate when that happens, but Judah, story of Judah, that dealt with the temple prostitute. That's not exactly unlawful. That's all right. All right. Prostitution is not illegal. All right. Yep. It had to do with women within the circuit of the holy places. They had female priestesses. These other nations, they have female priestesses because they believed in the worship of the woman. They believed that we should worship women and kiss their feet, which has nothing to do with the Bible. Okay? Women are not made to be worshipped. The scriptures themselves say that women are the weaker vessel. They're not made to be worshipped. They're not made to be praised. Women are made to follow orders, to follow commands. They're not supposed to give orders. Okay, we just read in Numbers chapter 1, verse 18, the line goes back to the fathers. And those kids there, they were lied to. I said, they lied to you. I had to say how it is. Yeah, and let them record too. You can record, because you can't do nothing against the truth but for it. So please, record. If you want to record, I'll give you some time to record and I'll kick your ass out, man. But if you're close to me, I'm going to tell you to get the hell out of here, man. Because that's distracting and that's very disrespectful. But if there's someone right across the street taking a quick video of me, so fucking be it. All right, they're going to make videos, they're going to put it online, and they're going to use it to demonize me. They're going to eventually figure out what college I go to up here. All right, they're going to eventually find out where I go to. Hell, they may even send police after me. I may very well be one of the first martyrs. We don't know. We don't know. You know, I don't really wish that upon myself. If I don't have to die, then I wouldn't. But if it has to be that way, so be it. And that's the spirit to have. This is the book of Matthew, chapter 5, verse 10. Blessed are they which are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Need I say more? All right, so please, persecute me, laugh, make videos about me, say, oh, you're ugly, oh, you're this, you're that, oh, you got a funny sounding voice, oh, you're not hood enough, or you're not gangster enough, oh, you're this, you're that, oh, you can't do this, oh, you don't have a girlfriend, so you're this. Come on, man. The scriptures say, Paul said himself, it is good for a man not to touch a woman. All right, and that's the scripture saying that. All right, all things are lawful, but not expedient. All right. It's the book of Second Maccabees, chapter 6, verse 4. For the temple was filled with riot and revelings by the Gentiles, who dallied with harlots and had to do with women within the circuit of the holy places, female priestesses, and besides that, brought in things that were not lawful. They brought in unclean foods. They brought in pigs, and sacrificed pigs in our temple. The altar also was filled with profane things, meaning outside, or outside of, and fane, I can't really remember what fane is. I went with it with a brother, or outside of normal, I believe. Actually, let me go ahead and look it up. Let me look it up, because I believe fane means foreign, something outside of. I know like prophecy, meaning before, phasai meaning to speak. So you're speaking of before. Oh, I hate when his phone does that, man. I deleted a lot of other apps on this phone so I can conserve space. But every time I start the phone over again, it tries to re-download those apps. So, oh man, I'm doing an hour of camp, man. How should be how shy. Dang, man. But hey, I'm starting to get a little bit of the system here, a little bit of a rhythm. I had this phone out, got this phone out, but it was something I was looking for. I can't think of it. I lost my thought. This is the book of Second Maccabees, chapter 6, verse 5. The altar also was filled with profane things, which the law forbiddeth. Okay, so they filled the altar and sacrificed unclean beasts. Okay, the damn devils. All right, they sacrificed unclean beasts upon our altars that belong to us. Let me see. Yeah, that's what I wanted. I wanted profane. But leave it to these 2/3 to walk by me on the phone and make me lose my thought. But whatever. It is what it is. I'll lose the thought. I'll come back and I'll get it again. All right? So, origin, this is etymologyonline.com. Profane, desecrate, treat holy things with irreverence. That's what they did. They took down our temple. All right? Antiochus Epiphanes tortured our people. Okay, try to get them to renounce their customs. Okay, cutting off food, murdering our people, raping our women, killing children in the streets. Okay, that's the same times that we're moving into today. Okay, where they're going to, where maybe some of us, I don't wish on any brothers. I wish on no one. Okay, well, not no one. I wish on the heathens, of course. All right, but I don't wish on any of my brothers, any sincere brothers in this truth. Okay, but we know that some of us are going to be tortured in these FEMA camps that they have today. Okay, they may want to, give us a couple jabs, or they try and say, all right, listen here, if you just can't you just let it go? Just leave the Bible alone, okay? All right, and we say, you know what? Fuck you. You know what these Edomites are going to do? They may get pissed off at some of us, give us a couple jabs, all right, but there's always going to be a punishment limit to what these Edomites are going to be allowed to do. They may try to waterboard some of us. You know, they may shoot some of us and maybe shoot us in the leg or something to try and inflict pain on us, to try and test us. All right, but we understand, you know, that the Most High is going to be with us, you know, and that all things are in control of the Most High. 1 Samuel chapter 2, verse 6, the Most High killeth and maketh alive. 2 Maccabean chapter 6, verse 6. The altar was also filled with profane things, which I want to, you know, I really want the word. Yeah, my phone's being slow. All right, so yeah, so pretty much profano. So according to Lewis and Short, Devon, this is from the phrase profano, literally out in front of the temple. So pro before, and phano, phantom, meaning temple. So outside the temple. So they were sacrificing things that were outside temple rules. Okay? That's what that pretty much means. Outside the temple, outside of our laws, statutes, and commandments. All right, something's outside of our laws, statutes, and commandments, it is off. Okay? All right, the scriptures, they'll tell you a man that's wounded in the stones, okay, should not make it into the congregation of the Most High. Okay, so that means we're not supposed to be having transgenders, transsexuals anywhere close to us. That person is unclean. He is an abomination. Okay, we're supposed to kill him for that. Leviticus chapter 20, verse 10. Not Leviticus chapter 20, verse 10. Leviticus chapter 18, verse 22 or 23. You know that, you know, if a man sleep with mankind, if a womankind, it's both, you're supposed to be put to death. I believe also Leviticus chapter 20, verse 13 as well. Okay. But that's pretty much it on that. This is the book of Daniel, chapter 8, verse 23. In the latter time of the kingdom, when transgenders have come to the full, a king of fierce countenance and understanding, dark senses shall stand up. Okay? Understanding dark, I got to go into what that means. But, you know, he's dark. Okay? That time was a very dark time period for us. All right, and that goes right back into Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 49 and 50. Okay, how a nation of fierce countenance will come from afar and shall afflict us. Okay, and that actually happened back then. And it's actually another prophecy that I'm going to go into. You know, I got to double check this one. But this is the book of Numbers, chapter 24, verse 24. And ships shall come from the coast of Shittim. All right, Shittim is going into the area of Cyprus, Greece, Macedon, okay, that kind of Grecian area, all right. And ships shall come from the coast of Shittim and shall pick the shore. A shore is going to those Assyrians, okay, they're Shemites, all right. And shall pick Eber, all right, Eber going to Ibar or Hebrews, okay. Ibarium means Hebrews. That's a proper way of saying it. All right, we are Hebrews. All right, shall affect the Hebrews, shall afflict us. Okay? And shall afflict Eber, he also shall perish forever. Okay, talking about those Greeks. Okay, they are going to perish forever, those Greek Edomites, as well as those Japhites, which is not really talking about Japheth inside this one. Okay, this is talking about the Edomites that took over and murdered Japheth, that killed the dark-skinned Japhetic people that were in that land, okay, and moved them out. Okay? That's pretty much what it's going into. You know, but this is talking about Alexander. You can say, oh, this is Alexander. Alexander did take over Ashur, did take over Assyria. Okay, but this actually came later on with Seleucus. Okay, with Seleucus and his men. Okay, and pretty much, you know, kind of going on to that, you know, the Diadachi, you know. Remember Seleucus, he took over Ashur. Even though he didn't technically come from Macedon, he did originate from there. And he later on came to us and attacked us. All right. And if I'm correct, I believe Seleucus did also take over Macedon as well. I got to look into that. He probably did. Because Seleucus was waxing very great according to scriptures. I know he took over Lysimachus's area and took it over and took it for himself. You know, in Asia Minor. or Anatolia. All right, verse 24, and his power shall be mighty, but not by his own power. And I'm not going to go pull it up, but when you go into Antiochus the fourth, Epiphanes, look up Antiochus the fourth and then mercenaries, you'll find out that he had lots of mercenaries a part of him. Okay, he had various other, heathens, other nations join his army and fight alongside him. Where did they get that from? Who did they steal that from? They stole it from the Persians. Okay, and the Persians stole that from the Babylonians. Okay, it's all use and reuse what these devils do. And they do that shit to this day with these non-governmental organizations. They still have mercs. Mercenaries still exist on the world stage to this day. Or this Afghan mercenaries. The U.S. have hired Afghan mercenaries to do their will, to do their bidding. You heard about the whole thing with Jovenel Moise, who was killed by mercs. So-called killed by mercs. We don't know what happened to him. Those soldiers, those mercenaries that they claim to hire, those guys are not even in shape. Those are not no fucking mercenaries, man. Those are some random dudes. Those are plants, all right? They planted those guys in. Those are just assets, man. I mean, they got to think that we're stupid or something, man, because that was easy to find out that was a lie. Verse 24, and his power shall be mighty, but not by his own power. He shall destroy wonderfully, and shall prosper in practice, and shall destroy the mighty and holy people. Who are the mighty and holy people? It's talking about us, the Israelites. We're mighty and holy people. We're so mighty and holy that in the time of the Maccabees, we fought them. And we were able to take them down and push them out of that land, even though we were severely outnumbered. We still took them down. Verse 25, through his policy also he shall cause craft to prosper in his hand, statescraft, like the form of being able to manipulate people, okay? And he shall magnify himself in his heart, and by peace shall destroy many. All right, by peace he shall destroy many. Okay, by having his provinces, by having so-called peace, he shall destroy many. Okay, by moving them, keeping them for a certain amount of time period, okay, and then betraying them later on, which he was known for. Okay, he would betray his provinces and destroy, people that were so-called allies constantly. Okay, all these damn devils are liars and deceivers. Okay, as we went into before, about the fuck is she looking at? As we went into before about Antiochus the fourth, right? Not Antiochus the fourth, Lysimachus. That whole situation with Lysimachus' own general betraying him, really with that whole Attila dynasty, we look into it, it's just betrayal after betrayal after betrayal after betrayal when you really look into it. Verse 25, and through his policy also he shall cause craft to prosper in his hand, and he shall magnify himself in his heart, and by peace shall destroy many. He shall also stand up against the prince of princes, but he shall be broken without hand. All right, we're going to read that again. I didn't mean to do that. I read too fast. He shall magnify himself in his heart, and by peace shall destroy many. It's actually talking about us. He destroyed us by having peace, by claiming to have peace between us, and saying we're going to just leave that stuff alone, man. Leave the Most High alone. Just leave it alone. All right, just give him up. All right, start eating heathen foods. Start eating unclean foods. Stop being abominable. Stop circumcising your children. Okay, that's how he destroyed us. Okay, because our laws, statutes, and commandments. Okay, that's our righteousness. I believe that's Deuteronomy chapter 4. Now that's our righteousness, and he tried to strip that from us, and he succeeded with a lot of our people. He succeeded in that. He shall also stand up against the prince of princes. The Most High is the prince of princes. Okay. But he shall be broken without hand. When we look into it, Antiochus the fourth Epiphanes was never assassinated. He actually died by sickness. When you actually go into the history of it, so that's how he was broken without hand. Same thing with Alexander. Alexander got stomach cancer because he was getting rammed up his ass all the damn time. He got rammed up in his behind so much that it actually fucked up his stomach and he died. That's what I believe happened. Some people say he was poisoned. It's possible. Remember, Alexander wasn't exactly on the best of terms with his men toward the end of his reign. He was going non-stop conquering, pretty much. Just non-stop battle after battle after battle after battle after battle. His men really wanted to go home. So he wasn't really liked. So it's possible one of his generals could have, It could have been Hephaestion, which if I'm not Hephaestion. Hephaestion was probably dead by then. It could have been one of his generals that could have had him killed. You know, we don't know. You know. Verse 26, in the vision of the evening, in the morning, which was told, is true. Wherefore shut thou up the vision, for it shall be for many days. It won't come for many days. Alright? And I, Daniel, fainted and was sick certain days, and afterwards I rose up and did the king's business. Daniel was sick. He was watching this stuff and it made him sick. He was like, whoa. It's like such a it's scary at first, right? But it's such a special feeling when you see these prophecies actually come to pass. You know? It's so like, it's riveting. I gotta be honest, it's riveting. To be alive, man. To be in this truth, to be able to understand the laws, teachings, and commandments, to be able to follow them to the best of my ability. It's a beautiful sight. It's beautiful. I enjoy it. All right, I enjoy it. Okay. You know, I had certain demons fucking with my mind, telling me, "Oh, stop the camp, stop the camp." I ain't stopping shit, man. I'm gonna keep going, and I'm gonna keep bringing out scriptures until I had my fill. You know. Verse 27, and I, Daniel, fainted and was sick certain days. Afterward I rose up and did the king's business, and I was astonished at the vision, but none understood it. That's pretty much it. We went into Daniel chapter 8. A 2-hour lesson, but no. Yeah, 2 hour and some change lesson. So, you know, it is what it is, you know. He brought out lots of information, lots of things came out. Brought out lots of things in the Halleys. Brought up certain things online on weaponsofwarfare.com, you know. So that's pretty much it, you know. Call Halayam Yahweh by Shem Yahweh Shai by Shem Harahawa Kadash Babrakatum. Alright, that's all I got. Alright, to the next camp, to the next videos. Alright, Shalom.